It's been a hot minute. So, in my absence of watching the JoCat crap guide videos, because I watched them a long time ago, I have since played through Final Fantasy XIV, most of A Realm Reborn at this point. I have two level 90s, that being Red Mage and Black Mage. Black Mage, my beloved. And I do have a... I'm actually really liking Monk right now, too. And so I have a better understanding of the game at this point in time, as well as increased quality that I feel that the JoCat videos do deserve, because JoCat's an awesome creator. Love their content. I don't... They're just awesome. So let's see how Kip has improved and how I look at a crap guide to Final Fantasy XIV, the melee DPS.
Everyone always says you should be a team player, but honestly, I've always felt like the best way to help the team is by crushing whatever obstacle that's in the way with my heavily toned squat receipts.
Yes.
So that's it. No more playing for anybody else. I play for me, baby. Any reason the raid wipes from now on is no longer my fault. I only exist to make big numbers fly towards the screen and watch my skill bar light up like a Christmas tree at a rave party. And you bet your precious patoot the progress preventers will be promptly pounded, because this potent projector of pain will be peppering those beasties until your pack is paved with enough resulting pellets that every peddler will pray to be pampered by a more palatable pacifist.
Why do I feel like this is what some dancer on crack would fucking spit? Like they're just rapping this out. Like I feel like this is the correct the correct comparison here. I love it.
Welcome to a crap guide to Final Fantasy.
It's perfect. It's as good. It's better than I remember.
Being a DPS is like being the king of capitalism, because the way you play, taking care of others, is for bitches. Pay no...
It kind of feel like that though, actually. Like I'm going back and playing Monk Pugilist, and I'm just like, wait. I mean, I just got to keep my meditate up for buff, but I mean, mostly I'm just dancing, doing circles around the enemies.
No attention to anybody else's well-being unless it directly affects you, and so long as you're alive and safe, you can act like anything bad that happens around you is probably not your fault.
It's so
All
true.
that brain power instead will be put towards what really matters, your complicated as shit damage rotation. That's right, step aside tanks 1, 2, 3 and healers 2 damage buttons. These are where the big guys and gals play. Or at least that's what they like to tell themselves, since one of the only party utilities they have to worry about is pressing the faint button once in a blue moon. Their hotbar will...
I actually got a bar from a friend, and they didn't even have feint on their samurai bar, because as far as they explained it, unless you're doing like end game content, like we're talking like uwu, right? We're talking like end game savages, right? The mitigation to actually popping feint, from my understanding, is while there is a difference, it's notional is the word I'm going to use, nominal, right? So you don't. Yes, you should be popping if you can, but if you don't, it's not necessarily the end of the world. There's a difference, but not a vast difference.
Will more often have dozens of buttons all dedicated to big damage. The melee DPS is the most important person in the party, as you are the one on the front lines inspecting the bad guy's anus like it's where all the Hrothgar hats are hiding, while avoiding the enemy's sprays of hot, poisonous gamer stink. Not only are you going to be up in their grill, turning their cheeks into a ripe tomato while flip-flopping in and out of danger like you're a politician making pancakes, you're also going to make like an adult film star and learn positionals. Certain attacks in your damage rotation will require you to land them in specific areas around the enemy target, specifically the rear and the flank, in order to deal additional damage.
I think most of those have been homogenized, right? I know there's still definitely positionals in the game, but I think most of it, just as long as you're in the rear spot, it's fine, right?
How do you tell where those positions are? By the massive disembodied titty underneath the target. See this nipple? That's the front, where the tank will be sucking on the sweet milkies that are tank busters, which obviously means this conspicuous ticulus on the opposite end is the rear. What about the flank? That'll be on either side of the enemy. And
I mean, we do have the disembodied tit here, but I mean, no one's going to talk about how the target icon looks like an anal plug. We're not ready for that conversation yet.
If you're ever confused as to where each area begins and ends, a useful tip on how to tell is imagine there's a big X dividing each of the quadrants. Or you could just press true north and pretend positionals don't exist like it's...
Where am I supposed to be hitting? I don't know. I'm just going to hit true north. What? Yeah, it's fine. I don't have to care.
It's an embarrassing memory of that time you did the Gangnam Style at school, unironically.
Oh, no.
The only time it isn't the case is when the enemy has a full ring without an opening, in which case you won't have to worry about any of that guff, and you can just sit there like an off-tank who's actually having fun. Otherwise, between hopping back and forth in these two spots and running around catching up to the boss whenever the tank feels like doing cardio, your little wall's legs are gonna get so much working out that they'll be thick as the milk from the teats of a whale made of molasses. Which is to say, expect to move. A lot. But what if I'm not in the right place for a position or the boss is far away?
Just do
remember
damage.
the old adage. Always be careful.
It's so true though. So I literally I had seen these before I started playing 14, right? And I'm just like, okay, yeah, I'm sure this makes sense. And so like playing Black Mage, playing Monk, right? Playing the classes that I have, even Red Mage, right? It just does so much work just to always be casting. It pays off in dividends. Like, and I mean, not even to a meta degree. So if I wanted to run Black Mage, at least in ARR content, I know after ARR it's going to get a little strange. Part of me wonders if JoCat would cringe hearing I'm not even through ARR with 290s. I wonder what his response would be. This would be kind of funny. But like, if you say Black Major, I'm like, well, I mean, reasonably, there is no reason for me to have my Thunder effect, the DOT, down ever, because just, you know, you cast the funny little Frost button, you cast the funny little Fire button, and that's really all you're doing at base level in ARR. Naturally, this does change, you know, every 10 levels. I mean, the class effectively changes, and I'm expecting another change once they go into Dawn Trail. That's the next expansion with the beach episode, right? Yeah, Dawn Trail. So I'm expecting Black Mage to change again there. But like, you know, reasonably hearing, if you can keep up the electro debuff, the DOT, 60-ish% of the time, you're already in like the top percentage of Black Mage. So I'm not doing awful. It's, you know, I've definitely had moments where, say I'm fighting like Nero or Gaius, right? Or even Ultima when I'm doing like MSQ roulette, and I'm in there and it's like, what, low sweep isn't going to stun the boss. I think low sweep might, it's the melee stun an enemy, right? The melee DPS, but it doesn't necessarily do that to bosses. I think it lowers their cast time potentially, or like makes it slower. I don't know. I'd have to have someone actually cite the information on me to that. But even then, right? Like if you have an off-level cooldown that's ready, your Bloodbath is already used. You've already used your Meditate. I'm talking Monk, right? Already used your Meditate. Your True North is already popped, and you're just wailing for damage using your damage buttons, right? I mean, realistically, why not throw the low sweep in there? You know, it's not like there's like better time to really use that in certain encounters, so why not throw it out there? I don't know. That's also me who is playing Final Fantasy XIV in probably the most suboptimal way possible.
Even if you're not able to land your positionals, or if the boss is too far away to make a melee attack, be sure to always be pressing your buttons no matter what. Yeah. Unless you're a monk who has no ranged attack and you have to sit there thinking about how your job will inevitably be reworked yet again in the next patch. However,
actually, so about that, you know what because I actually have to deal with this. So like, let's say, what is it? It's not Nero. It's what's her face? Baron von Pistol Fist, right? From Castrum, how she'll have the directional, the omnidirectional on the ground, the AoE on the ground, and it's like, well, I have to get out of the way, right? So I can, you know, reverse, I can back it up as Samurai, use NP, which is bound to my 5 to have the blade beam, the ranged attack. Monk does not have a ranged option. I think they have an option, I think it's what, Thunderclap to close the gap, but like, because as long as the funny little AoE on the ground, as long as that light is the light effect is gone, I mean, you can, you know, just go in again. I actually end up using that to back up, and I just go Super Saiyan because I'll just cast Meditate however many times I need to get Steel Peak back up. It's actually not a bad use of my time.
There's another secret epic gamer option that allows you to maximize the DPS you output at the risk of yourself as well as potentially everybody else, but it's usually the healers. This technique is called Greed. The funny thing about AoE markers in Final Fantasy XIV is that they only ever mark you for damage if you are standing in them the moment they go away. This means that if you're fast on your fingers, you can stand there DPSing the bad guy while soaking in their radioactive orange juice until the very last second, where you backflip out just as the dropkick of doom skims your fuzzy anime hairs and you...
I hear you can't do this in higher tier content because certain higher tier content, you have to back out of it, because if you backflip, it is just short enough that you will backflip off the edge. So think like a Titan arena, it sounds like, from ARR. Think if you backflip, but if you backflip, it's sized in a way that it will punish backflipping.
You don't lose a second of uptime. As I said, however, this is a high risk. If your timing is off and you spend just a millisecond too long, you'll be covered in cheese puffs. You might even die. Or in some cases, you'll have to suffer a fate worse than having to read the entire 24-hour chat log of Limsa. Damage down. It's okay. Nobody's gonna take away your big damage numbers. Papa's here to make sure you don't greed too hard if you're not ready, okay? Okay. As the melee DPS, you also have first dibs on limit break against most bosses, since yours deals the most damage, specifically when they're single. This is because when you hit the limit break button, you're not actually attacking them, just showing them pictures of a happy, healthy relationship, and nothing hurts more than emotional damage. Just ask Urianger. But what are the individual jobs whom of which melayeth said up-close slappers to thine adversaries? There are 5, and each one is a different flavor of anime and edge. Monk, for those of you who want to go fast, having Having one of the shortest
Gotta go
global
fast.
cooldowns in the game means you'll be dealing out punches like you're a pissed off caterer at a middle school sock hop. Instead of the traditional combos, each attack puts you in a specific stance.
Yeah.
Bird, cat, and monkey. Each one combos into another attack that benefits from each respective stance.
Right.
Your rotation will be all about swapping stances around more than a kid trying sick moves to impress their crush at a middle school sock hop. You also have perfect balance, which allows you to go freestyle and pick whichever stance you're feeling more at the moment without having to do any of the normal stance setup. If you repeat the same stance 3 times during your freestyle, you get a purple token on your stylish moves punch card.
This might actually be above what I have unlocked, because I have like level 90 classes and stuff like that, and I'm actually probably going to make Monk my next level 90, if anything, because I'm actually really enjoying it. Like, I'm only in ARR, though, still, just because time, debut stuff like that. It's been a very tiring month, let me tell you. But, I mean, it's going to be, I'm working through that, and I know that, there's more class quests and more unlocks. Like, I'm a Black Mage without ley lines, because I don't even have access to, I'm not in the next expansion yet. So I'm assuming Monk gets a lot of cool things that I don't even know that it gets yet.
And if you do 3 different stances during the freestyle, you get a white one. Do a freestyle with 3 unique moves one more time while you have both a purple and white tokens on your punch card, and you get to turn it in to make your crush dripping wet.
Hell
with
yeah.
damage, because for some reason you get to kick them in the face.
Nice.
The only problem is you are the only melee without a ranged attack to keep your uptime.
Yeah.
And although you do have a dash that lets you zip around like Goku on a
There
triple
it
shot
is.
Ristretto down blend macchiato, if ever you find yourself without a target to punch during combat, you can call timeout on your buffs so they stop moving while you have a little cry because your crush rejected you at the middle school sock hop.
Oh, that's
Dragoon
cool.
is probably the most straightforward of the melee classes and the one most likely to have a tragic backstory. You've got a 5-button combo that swaps between hard slaps and sakura flowers and a handful of buffs that will turn anybody else in the party into your partner in dragon slaying.
Nice.
What kind of dragon slaying? That's up for you to decide, which you'll have plenty of time to do while you're suspended 20 moms in the air dropping in like a scantily clad human airstrike who's got a date with Nidhogg at 5 and a party at the quicksand at 6. Yes, the
Nice.
Matanga in the room. Dragoon has several damage-dealing jumps necessary to unlocking special attacks in their rotation that will lock you into an animation, which means you're stuck and unable to move out of your location while the boss is just about ready to piss all over the floor right before you
no.
land. So be wary when using your jumps, lest you fling yourself right into a danger puddle and perpetuate the tired singular joke the 14 community has for the class. On the
Oh my god, I saw him fall off of Titan. I've done that so many times. It's almost a joke at this point that the only trial I ever get to do is Titan. I would much rather actually really enjoy Moogle. I'm the weird one. I enjoy doing King Moogle.
right side, though, you do get the objectively best.
May his name ever remain. You know what I'm trying to do. The team knew what they were doing.
Job mentor in the form of Ninja is great for people who enjoy American football, because for every 10 seconds of excitement, there's a minute of fuck all. Your
Nice.
rotation is all about fitting every goddamn cooldown you can into a small window of time where you make the enemy take more damage. And on top of that, you also have the ability to live out every weeb's dream and do a bunch of hand gestures to cast magic attacks, and also drop down into a low position and run with your arms flopping behind you in the breeze. Which
Yeah.
Final Fantasy objectively proves makes you go faster. You
Yeah.
got 3 hand symbols, and depending on what order you do, you will make a different kind of anime reference. For example, going Chi Tenjin Tenjin Chi Chijin unlocks the secret dark ending of Cory in the house and causes the enemy to be susceptible to bonus damage. But maybe you're facing a mob of enemies who are immune to A-rank powered life forms, so you'll instead have to go Tenjin Jin Chijin Chijin Tenchijin Tenchi for 3 seasons of Sonic Underground, which will kick sand into their eyes with how fast you'll be running circles around the slowpokes. More or less, you'll have to do some studying up on what combos do what, but here's a secret cheat sheet.
There's none.
Only the final mudra in the sequence matters.
Fuck, it's the skill floor police. Cheese it! Samurai, the job most likely to have a dick measuring contest with a black mage. I'd be careful though, their
Yeah.
dad works at Square Enix. This weeb
Yeah. I have been told that Samurai is the black mage of Melee, and I can kind of see it. I mean, at least as far as ARR Samurai works, I mean, most of my rotation is, get Higginbana up, and then I'll start, unless I'm dealing with AoEs, right? I don't necessarily need the 2 combo. Get Higginbana up for DOT, get your 3 going, get your, I can't remember what the name of it is. It's the 3 combo Iaijutsu skill. If I need to get out of there, I have NP just to do my blade beam at targets, keep Bloodbath up, True North if I get lost on positionals, because I get lost way too much. No, I mean, I could see it. I can see it. Yeah, the Black Mage Samurai duality is always funny to me.
is the most selfish of the melees, as it provides no utility for the rest of the party and instead acts like the average soccer player, focusing on being the star of the show who gets all the attention, especially when it drops to the floor clutching its knee when somebody sneezes on them. Your attacks contribute to a kink bar, which allows you to shame the
Nice.
enemy in a variety of ways, as your katana is also a substitute for a horny bat. So you
Nice.
remember how the monk has a punch card? Well, so do you, except yours is your sword and the punches are stickers. You
Yeah.
have 3 basic combos, each one giving you a slight buff and slapping a sticker onto your katana. And depending on how many stickers you have, you will get one of 3 different rewards when you turn in your sticker sheet. With 1 sticker, you'll apply a dot that'll last longer than it takes to clean your room. Don't
Yeah.
lie to me, I know a majority of my audience has depression. 2 stickers will charge up an AoE around you. And Your attack also gives you an additional separate sticker. And once you have 3 of those, you get to do an additional...
That's gotta be post level 50. I should actually probably play the stupid MSQ. I should probably just get to Endwalker so I can actually play level 90 classes like a competent player. But part of me also wants to spite people. Part of me does want to have all my classes at 90 before finishing ARR, just to be that guy.
And finally, the Reaper, the transfer student from Garlemald who got the rest to mauled at the fact that they think they're better than the rest of the melees. Which I mean they are, but don't let any Reaper hear you say that. It'll go to their heads.
It will.
The darkest and edgiest of melees means that your job gauge is the Dark Souls HUD. Similar to the Samurai, you build up a bar that can be spent on big slaps. And those big slaps give you edgy boy points that can be spent on additional big slaps. Except this time, they're coral blue number 5 semi-gloss lipstick. Once you've kissed enough boys to build up your fashion bar, you get to turn into a spooky ghost. You do the slice.
Spooky.
You do the spooky slice.
I love it.
Spooky slice. Now your swings have some spice. You do the slice. It's just your soul that's the price. You do the slice.
It's perfect.
You do the spooky slice. And now you know how to play Melee. You're welcome.
I dig it.
Northern snow front of Ilsabad. The land was cold and the people scarred. They sought the void with a daring act and empowered themselves with the devious pact. You do the slice. You do the spooky slice. The spooky slice. Now your swings have some spice. You do the slice. It's just your soul that's the price. You do the slice. You do the spooky slice.
It was perfect. I absolutely loved this. That was incredibly relatable. I didn't remember anything about that, honestly. It has truly been that long. That's why I'm trying to go back over some of these videos that definitely deserve a lot more attention. And old Kip was way too scuffed to really fully realize their potential. Like, this was excellent. Thank you for this, JoCat. That was awesome. And God, I can't wait to actually play through MSQ so that way I can actually be able to use classes above level 50. Oh, it's too good. Thank you. That was, if you haven't checked out the original, this is amazing. Definitely go check it out.